It was noontime today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about prepper gifts. One of the big things, the highlight is when we get to the end, we're going to talk about things that maybe you should get for Christmas, because that's always what puts a smile on my face.
That's
But
the
it turns
best,
out
right?
nicer people who are better than us, better than me and Kevin, not the audience. People who are better than me and Kevin get joy giving gifts to other people and
Right.
looking out for them. So that's something you guys might be interested in as well. So what it is what I always like, you want to kind of get your family and friends into prepping and have them prepared as well, cuz if we're all prepared, then you always hear these people, when things go bad, I'm coming to your house. Well, we don't always want that.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to take care of themselves and self-reliant. And that's what we try and teach our kids as they grow up, and you want them to be independent and successful and handle their own stuff. So turns out getting people into prepping is a great idea. And sometimes it's not just inspiring them to do prepping, it's also helping them out so that they are prepared. And I think the holidays, we end up all throwing a lot of money at things and spending money on nonsense, things that, I'll just buy them a sweater, or I'll just give them a gift card, or I'll, because we don't know. You don't know
Right.
what's right. I mean, the safe bet with me is alcohol. If you buy me alcohol, it's going to get used. It's going to work out.
Yeah. Now, honestly, we ought to do an entire show on how to select the right bourbon for your friends and family. But I mean,
Exactly.
that's not
If you
just
wanted to have a bourbon, a bourbon of the month club for me, that would be a good gift. You could do that.
Mhm.
12 bottles of bourbon might be a little pricey on what you were actually going to spend on me, but hey, you do you, right? That's the way it goes sometimes. So anyway, there's a lot of things out there, like I said, both to inspire. There you are. Holy cow, dude. We've never had it like that. That was crazy. All right. So we're in it. So man, I don't even know where to even begin. I don't even know where my train of thought was on that one. That was the longest we've ever lost service, I think. So anyway, there's a lot of things, like I said, to inspire and to motivate people to and to prepare them. So I think most of the stuff I came up with is really to help out my family, make them
Mhm.
more prepared with things that they're both going to appreciate, and things that they're going to, that's going to help them in a jam. So, Kevin, do you have any items, like what's your number one item that comes to mind? I mean, it doesn't. There's a lot of things for preparedness that can help people out.
I'm gonna tell you my number one gift that I like to receive personally
Oh,
that I feel like other people also like it.
Would
I
like
mean,
getting besides whiskey.
but when Christmas comes, that's like the signifier, like things are getting cold, it's wintertime. You know what I mean? Christmas is the beginning of winter, basically. And I like some wool socks, be honest with you. Keeping your feet warm. Anytime you're wearing boots, anytime you're going hiking, anytime you're out in like cold, wet weather, having some good wool socks on your feet is a big deal to me. And that's like what is it? The classic boring ass, socks and underwear that's what you got for Christmas. I get excited when I get those things.
Right?
So I mean, I'll just put it out there that I mean that's a classic. Cold weather gear, gloves, hats, that sort of stuff. It's good to get a refresh right at the beginning of winter as things roll in. But
That's
before,
I would even one up that with, like a quality winter coat
yeah,
or a good pair of, work gloves or something like that. Tools that you use every day. That's something that, prepares people. One of the things that we're looking at, you guys had seen recently, they had that 1791 EDC. Um, I had gotten that like holster that does like the Leatherman and the flashlight that I use at work. They have thick belts and they have things for, that kind of stuff. To me, that kind of thing is pretty awesome.
mhm,
Like the utility of it, it just makes you more efficient. And people like quality and it's with them every day, like a good belt or something. That's
right.
something is gonna get used. And you don't think of it as sexy and exciting. It's like socks, like you said. It's not something where you're like, oh, thank God I got a belt or socks. But you know what? It's something you're gonna use and it's something
Mhm.
you're gonna enjoy. Um, I guess one of the things where inspiring preparedness that comes to mind with me is those jumper booster cables. Not just regular jumper cables, but they have those like battery boxes.
Mhm.
They those are great to have in the car. And
Yeah.
it sucks when you get stuck and you can't. And nobody's like, "Oh, that's what I wanted. That was on my list." Probably not. But I gotta say, is that something that's gonna help them out and make them a little bit more prepared and keep your kid from being stranded on the side of the road and desperate? To me, that's a big hit. All right, you got another one?
Yeah, well, one of the things I wanted to get into is some of the kits. Um,
Okay.
Now, a lot of the kits that you go buy online are trash. You know what I
Yes.
mean? They have like a
Yes.
bunch of cheap garbage shit in there, and they have
Yes.
all the stuff. You know what I mean? But it's all trash. Um, so you can make your own kit with quality stuff in it.
Yes.
You can look up one of these things and just rip it off. You know what I mean? You don't even
Yeah.
have to come up with your own ideas.
Right. They'll
Just
have the
look up the kit.
inspiration. Yeah.
Right. But a good car kit would be something like jumper cables or the battery box that you're talking about,
Yeah.
the car charger, some sort of a fix a flat type thing for your tires just
Yeah.
to inflate it and
Yeah,
get some more
right. I
space.
mean, that's it. Fix a flat isn't the miracle like that. People are like, "Oh, I don't like to use it. It kind of puts bad stuff in the tires, that kind of stuff." But it's better than being stuck on the highway and desperate and
Right.
whatever. Having it as a backup, awesome.
Hmm.
So yeah, like a car
Uh,
preparedness. I like it.
Tow ropes and first aid kit is in there. But survival kit is probably a little bit cheaper if you want to go basic with it stuff and just get like a quality multi-tool first aid kit, flashlight, the basics that you could just give your Aunt Susie or your nephew Tim a little bag
Yeah.
of emergency gear. So lights go out,
Yep.
power goes out, big storm coming in, whatever it is, you've got your gear all set aside in one spot. It's not a whole bug out bag type thing, but just
Right.
an emergency kit.
I would emphasize what you said of putting it in a bag, having something that it's going to be a go-to. Oh, I know I have stuff there.
Hmm.
Setting it up that way, that's going to help. I think that's
And
that's
a big
definitely a
part of the
plus.
money that you're spending on that stuff should go towards the bag, getting something quality, either backpack, stuff or something that's easily carried and not break down. I would just threw out a couple of bags the other day that were just like old backpacks. They're old backpacks are great. Kid
Yeah.
uses them for school for 1 year and then whatever. But you get the low quality ones sometimes, and they get holes in them, and they're just old ratty shit.
Yeah.
Get something that's gonna hold up and stand up. The bag itself is gonna be worth
Right. And
worth a
that's,
lot.
I mean, maybe your kids, maybe you have a little time throughout the year to plan. Like you could do a get home bag or something for your kid.
Mhm.
But typically you're probably looking at $150 to put something quality together with everything in there. And if that's in your budget, that might be exactly, what the perfect gift is really the gift of preparedness kind of thing. Just having that get home bag in the car and able to
Right.
do it. We've done videos on how to put those together, so you can check that out. But that's going to be a great, option where you can, you know, just really bless somebody, take care of them, and up their preparedness level. Um, Next on my list, I have like you had mentioned bags, but like a first aid kit. So this is like $13 on Amazon. I actually have this exact kit. They have like little get home bag kind of thing, band-aids, and it has like packets, something with like triple antibiotic and different things like that. If you got a bag like that, just search, first aid kits on Amazon, but something good, and then actually go through it and make sure there's something there. Like you want
Mhm.
something that's a starter, but then you want to make sure that the stuff in there is quality,
Is
that
good,
you're
right.
not getting. But again, next on my list, I gotta say, food storage. Um, Everybody knows that the long-term food storage companies, you're not getting the bang for your buck as well as if you prepare it yourself.
Mhm.
We know that all day long, right? Um, when they fill them with rice, they fill them with nonsense that, yeah, it's cool and it's going to fill bellies, but man, you're paying a lot of money for the fact that it's going to last 25
For
years.
yeah, for rice and beans, you're paying a lot.
But on the flip side of that, sending your kid a month of long-term food storage, probably not a bad idea if there's somebody who doesn't have any kind of preparedness and
Mhm.
anything.
Yeah, and, you can get stuff like MREs and stuff like that that are, that'll hold up for a long time.
Yep,
They can put it in the closet and forget about it and
right.
then pull it out when it's needed.
One of the ones I really like, there's that Agassiz Farms, you see on, Amazon and stuff a lot,
Mhm.
but you gotta be careful with that. They have these, like, number 10 can buckets. Some will be like $8 and then some will be like 45. Just make sure you're getting what you expect, as far as calories and value out of it.
Yeah.
Um, I usually watch for the sales and they'll have ones that are like 60% off. And that's like usually the only time I buy it, when it's 45, 40, 60, 50% off. Then I'm like, oh, it's on sale. I'll get that one and I'll just throw it on the shelf as more backup. But you guys know we love to fill, 5-gallon buckets and rotate through our stock and like that as
Mhm.
the go-to on food storage. It's just something that helps. Um, Another thing that might actually excite people a little bit is they have those battery backups for people whose cell phones always die, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and they sell ones where it's like got a solar face on it. So it'll be like a flashlight, it'll charge. But having that battery backup, I got to say, when I got caught in Hurricane Helene here, we had that in the car and I didn't even have to think about my cell phone as far as my battery and
Right.
stuff because I was able to charge it several times with one of those things, those battery backups. And that's kind of peace of mind.
Yeah.
And keeping something like that in the car, that's pretty cool and easy.
Mhm. Yeah, this year I first got a uh solar powered generator. It's
Okay.
like, portable energy bank.
Yeah.
And you can charge it, you can plug it in the house, charge it up. And
Then
we
take
took it
it
on a
camping or yeah.
4-day weekend, and we were able to keep our phones charged the whole time. no problems. And if it did run out, it had the solar panel that you could just lay out and charge it
Right.
back up. I charged it up fully
Yeah.
in the outlet, and it took about an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
I got about a 20% charge with the solar bank for after about 4 hours in the sun. So I mean,
Okay.
there's a bit of a difference there between
Yeah.
what it is, but you can definitely charge it back up easily. I mean, you just lay it out, and it's ready to go.
Right.
A lot of those small solar panels are great. You know what I mean? When they're portable, they're easy to use, lay it out and plug it in, and you're in good shape. Obviously, if you're going through a hurricane, your power goes out, that solar power thing isn't going to do a whole lot of good for you. But the energy bank, you can keep everything charged up and at least keep track of the weather and that sort of stuff that you can use with your
Yeah.
smartphone.
Yeah, no, I like it. That's the thing. It's another level of preparedness, and it keeps people going. Another great thing that kind of inspire people is camping gear.
Mhm.
Kind of get people into camping and hiking. Maybe even send them on some kind of adventure or training. That kind of thing is pretty cool. Like, hey, here's a outdoor thing for 2 days or a week or whatever.
Mhm.
Obviously buying somebody a vacation. I don't think anybody turned down, hey, you got me a cruise for next month. But when you're like, hey, go camping for the next week, whatever. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's as cool and exciting to your non-prepper people, but
Yeah.
think about things like that are outside the box. Kevin had mentioned the solar bank. They also have those like fold out solar panels, which again, Kevin could add to the one that he has, but they have ones that, will charge and lay out that have like a little USB port that you just kind of plug your phone in right to the fold out stuff. Those vary greatly. A lot of the ones I see are like the one that always comes up when I search it on Amazon, the foldable solar panels or portable solar panels is always like 28 watts. And it seems like a lot of money. I found one that I bought right before prepper camp last year was like 39 bucks. I had just been watching them kind of forever, and it was like 40 watts for 39, and now I'm seeing 28 for 59. So I'm like, what the hell?
Mhm.
So that stuff does vary. You have to kind of put the effort into shopping around and see what you can find.
Yeah.
I think again, there we go. Another gift that kind of would be down. People have silver, that's something you can kind of hold forever. I don't know if they get that excited about it. I know with young kids, when I see kids that get a ton of gifts, like they have these birthday parties and there's like 30 family members there and things like
Mhm.
that, and they're just getting stacks of stuff and can't sort it through. I always like to drop like a silver coin or something, and do something like that that's more like long term,
Mhm.
and gonna have because who remembers the toy when you're 8 years old that you got last year? Nobody
Right.
cares about it. But that silver coin is going to be something with them forever. So that's something to think about.
Mhm.
Um, just a thought. Uh, what else you thinking, Kevin?
One of the things that that the younger guys like a lot is the walkie-talkies, and you can get some decent heavy
Yes.
duty walkie-talkies. DeWalt has a heavy duty set, um, but there's a lot of different companies and a lot of different ranges. You know what I mean? You can buy really shitty walkie-talkies, so that's something to
Yeah.
keep in mind. That's not what you want for the guys. You want something they
Right.
can actually use. Some kind of a mile range or more.
Yeah. Now the Motorola's I think are pretty cool, but yeah, look for something that has the true CB channels and can get you in there and get you in the neighborhood. That's definitely a good way to go and inspiring.
Mhm.
Like I said, another way to go is there's a lot of like prepper fiction that you could kind of ease people into, kind of, somebody who likes to read that kind of stuff. You could, hey, check out this series of, one of these but entry level, you got to think about that. You got to think about a novel that's gonna not really take them too far out of their,
Yeah,
comfort zone.
and I'll be honest with you, a lot of the prepper novels that I've read have just been just terrible, just awful things. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not, you know, it's not something that's like, just drawing you that you have to read the next chapter, got to find out
yeah,
what happens. And they're
yeah,
not really that great. So you want to do a little bit of shopping around and obviously focus it on who you're buying it for. You know what I mean? I-
exactly.
If your family member is really religious, there's some
Some
great
cool
prep
ones
books
out
that
there,
are,
right?
very involved with that. Some of them are, uh one that I read that was pretty good was geared more towards kids,
Okay,
and it was a little bit more entertaining than some that I've read. It's
nice.
called Water.
Okay,
What's it called? And I don't know if that was the name of it now that I'm
that's
thinking about it.
in school, my kids had read Hatchet and thought that
Mhm.
was the greatest thing, and it inspired them. So it depends. It depends what's maybe you need to buy them. I don't know, like something crazier, like trying to think. I'm thinking like Ready Player One. I'm
Mhm.
thinking, uh, but that Huxley, what's his Brave New World, right?
Mhm.
Those used to
Aldous
be like
Huxley, yeah.
standard, yeah. Those
Yeah.
used to be your standard like school books,
Mhm.
and now nobody sees that stuff. Or,
Yeah. 1984 is yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's long past. Whatever
right,
whatever happened in that book is already going on. So I mean
yeah.
that's
It already played out, but maybe you need to get them back to like the Little House on the Prairie series, right? Go back to the old school. Who
yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Um, how about water filtration?
oh
Now it's kind of getting back towards the camping gear type stuff.
yeah,
Um, LifeStraw makes a great product, but there's a lot of brands out there that do the same sort of thing.
yeah.
Water filters that
Sawyer, yeah. There's a lot of good ones out there.
yeah, I got a message from somebody that was they were in Spain.
Okay,
And it didn't really hit the news over here, but there's some major flooding there last month.
yeah,
Um, and the government really they weren't prepared for it. There was a big storm, a lot of rainfall. Government didn't really prepare ahead of time. Power failures and houses getting flooded. And somebody was asking about, you know, I don't trust the water that's coming out of my tap right now. You know what I mean? I don't
reasonable.
trust
Yep.
what's coming through here, and I don't know that it's safe to just drink it? Power's been out,
Kevin,
but the water's still running. Like, can I drink this? And there's a lot of stuff you can do for peace of mind for that sort of stuff. I said you need to filter the water, run it through something, and then boil it for 15 minutes if you have a camp stove or a grill. But if not, you're gonna have to like do some chemistry and put some bleach in there and this much bleach to this much water. It can be tricky to do that sort of stuff if you don't have a system set up. And those life straws and that sort of stuff, it really comes
right?
in handy when you get hit with an emergency that you're
And
not
there's
expecting.
even the bigger, like, I mean, it really depends on your budget and what you're planning to do, how much you like the person. But they
Mhm,
have like the big Berkey systems and cool stuff like that. Some people start to integrate that into their regular life, of using these bigger, substantial water filters.
mhm,
I know my wife watches a channel on YouTube, Roots and Refuge, and I know they're actually making American-made water filters and selling those. So that's
mhm.
something you might want to, look up. But there's different things that are, pretty cool out there that could really, hey, they could help out. Yeah, a lot of good ideas. Like even just like tents and camping gear. For the water, you've run some water plants in your day, right, Kevin? That's your world, right?
Yep.
That's your expertise. Have you ever seen the possibility? Now, I'm sure that the government would never know about this, but have you ever seen like a wastewater plant kind of overflow and flow into the rivers and streams? Has that ever happened?
Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a
And-
lot. Now, I live
and-
near the Hudson River, and I just always hear stories of, like them taking random tests of the water out of the river
Yes.
and finding, human waste in it,
Oh yeah.
which
Oh,
is
yeah.
ridiculous because
And-
I remember swimming in it as a kid, and,
Sure.
having it in my mouth and everything.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like,
Eat those fish.
But-
It's all good.
yeah,
And
I mean,
then-
I would recommend to anybody that's listening, don't go swimming in the Hudson River. It's not
No, it's not a
not
go-to.
not a safe place.
Especially the closer you get to the city, the more bodies you find. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, when they're saying human waste in there, they mean to the full extent.
Yeah.
Every part in there.
Yeah,
Um,
and the thing is, where a lot of that comes from, and it's not, it's not just the Hudson River. It's most
No,
rivers
no.
in the United States.
Yes.
And the problem is that people have septic tanks that they don't get pumped out, and you get a
Okay.
heavy rain, and it flushes all that waste right out over the bank into the water, and that's just everybody else's problem now.
Yeah, hey, better away. That's all I can say. So
Mhm.
yeah, and then obviously people get their drinking water out of the Hudson River.
Yep.
People get their drinking water out of these streams that are, in line with waste plants, right? Now, obviously, hopefully it's not the output of the water treatment plant, the waste plant, and then right into the freshwater plant, but they're not that far away necessarily either.
That's the next town over.
Next town, right? It's a
The
different
wastewater
town.
plant is upstream of the where they take the water in for the water plant. So I mean,
So Kevin, would all the
Yeah.
poos and things dissipate? Say it goes 7 miles upstream. Would that be completely gone by the time it gets there?
no, it's there.
No.
It's there for a long time, man.
Okay. So just something to think about. Maybe a good water filter might be something, for the family to enjoy. Like I said, also think about, tents, camping gear. There's a lot of cool stuff that's, inspiring. Maybe just things that inspire people to get outdoors,
Mhm.
maybe, new set of skis, new set of, maybe buy your kid a nice 4-wheeler. That's, you can buy me side by side, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying.
Now,
Now,
Slow Burn had mentioned a lot of kids with like cheap, shitty pocket knives and stuff. Maybe it's worthwhile to get them a nice, get your kid a nice knife. I think my kid was 9 when I got him his first knife for carving. And I said, remember, this is sharp. You're gonna cut your finger. He's like, well,
they always cut their
what do
fingers.
I have to do to make sure I don't cut it? I said, well, you have to be really careful, but you're gonna cut your finger. And sure enough, a couple days later. But I mean, it's a
Dad, it's
Band-Aid
hanging.
and a lesson learned. It's not a big
Lesson
deal.
learned.
You don't have to worry about your kids dying because they have a knife that's sharp. Just make sure you teach them.
That's it. Maybe get somebody into hunting, right? Maybe your kids, again, these things that get people outdoors. That's maybe the first handgun, maybe the first rifle.
Mm-hmm.
These are always ammo. These are always excellent gifts.
Right.
Something to
Starting
think
your
about.
kid out with a 22, it's a nice way to go. You got a little activities for the afternoon, Christmas afternoon. You can go shoot some cans and the back of the neighbor's garage if you don't plan properly.
Yeah. Whatever. Kevin, that sounds like a horrible idea, sending your kids off random. That was my childhood, though. Oh, yeah, here, look, we found this old gun. Here you go. Go,
Here you
go
go.
figure it out. We're off shooting in the woods. Who knows?
Mhm.
You don't have that paranoia of backstops and things like we do now,
Yeah, I saw a picture the other day. It was side by side. It was one person was like, just took my daughter out to do some target practice, and the target was
Right.
on a fence. And
Oh,
then
yeah,
the picture
fence.
next to it was a wooden fence. And on the picture next to it was somebody saying, I've got all these holes in my garage and I don't know where they came from,
Right. That's not really a good idea. So anyway, gun safety, something, maybe that's the thing. Maybe go do the hunting class with your kid, that's the thing.
Mhm.
So now let's kind of switch over to the fun part, Kevin. What do you want to get as a prepper? What would excite you under the tree?
Axes.
You want
Big
axes?
axes. Yeah, I've got a good chainsaw, and you know, I use it pretty regularly, but you know, a nice axe is always handy to have around.
I like it. There's a company out there, actually a sponsor of the show, Mission Darkness, sell a lot of EMP bags, and one
Hmm.
of the things they do is they have a rifle case where you're saying, "Well, my rifle, EMP, how does that track?" Well, that's where, that nice thermal scope you got, that night vision, that stuff that costs $1,000, protecting that might be pretty cool. I'm just
Hmm.
saying, Code Badass might get you a little something. I'm just saying. The Code Badass will actually take you places a lot of different areas. EMP shield. I know
Hmm.
somebody wants to get that, have their car protected.
Yeah.
Code Badass. There you go. But I know Black Friday, a lot of good, ammo rifle sales happening. Um,
We're
I know
actually
that comes
recording
and
it on
goes
Black
by the
Friday,
time you
so
guys, listen to that. But well, yeah, but that stuff lasts. Like usually Black Friday is like 2 weeks, whatever.
yeah.
Like you have a little bit of time sometimes. Cyber Monday, Tuesday, they have something or another. Who knows? I don't know. I just know. I feel like Black Fridays, the sales really aren't there anymore. They're not
No.
what they used to be. I think TVs are about as close as you get, and even that, I think they're just so cheap all the time anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. TVs,
I
it
don't.
used to be like you know, a matter of like pride and how much money you spent when you had like a big flat screen TV, and now they're
And
like
you're the
200
man.
bucks, you know?
Yeah, you're like, oh, look at me. I'm like, if I wanted to have a sharper picture on the TV, I'd go get glasses, and then I'm like, is that
Yeah, start working from there, you know?
right? Right now, right now, it really doesn't matter what's on the TV because I can't see it anyway. I'm like, whatever. It looks
I had
like
an
the
issue the other day uh with the chainsaw. I was out dropping some trash off at the dump, and I got a call from my wife. Said that a tree fell down across the road in front of our
okay,
house. You know,
okay,
it was kind of on the between mine and the neighbor's house, and just fell across the road.
and you
So
didn't
I
see it on the way to the dump. This happened while
so
you were out.
well, she heard it fall down. You know, it
Okay,
was a big windstorm, and so I came home, and I don't like the 5 minutes between when I got the phone call and when I got home, like all hell had broken loose. I got home and there's a dump truck. The guy down the street got stuck on it. So the tree was going like down the middle of his car, and one of his front tires was just kind of dangling in the air.
whoa,
She
geez.
said he was just driving like 45 miles an hour and didn't even slow down, hit this big ass tree. So, so I go over there, and there's a car parked on the side of the street that he hit the tree so hard it smashed the other car up too. Smacked the tree into that. It was a big fucking disaster. And I'm
Sounds it.
fairly certain that the guy driving didn't have a license because
Or a sober.
the one guy told me he was driving, and then my wife's like, he wasn't driving, he was in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
So I don't know what was going on there. I know the
right.
guy that was supposedly driving didn't speak English. I think he only speaks Turkish, but whatever. I mean, I I don't know. It was a
I
big
don't know.
disaster though.
That
Either way.
sounds it. Yeah, no, that's it. A quality chainsaw, quality tools are always like a go-to.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
know when
know.
I was a youngster, 20, 21, somebody got me a power drill for Christmas, which was, at that age, you're not looking to spend 200,
Right.
$300 on
No.
tools that you actually need. You know, you don't
Right.
have the money to get the stuff that you need to have.
Right.
And it's good to be able to start to have somebody build up their tool. You know, it takes a whole lifetime to build a full
Quality tool
quality
set.
set of
Yeah.
tools,
Oh,
you know?
definitely. Um,
And I think that goes a long way when it comes to that sort of stuff. Toolkits, toolboxes, ratchet sets, wrench sets, that
the
sort of
trick
stuff.
is to yard sale that stuff, man. When the older
Yeah.
people pass on and whatever, and all their tools are up for sale. Oh, you
Hmm.
you hit the mother load.
That's it.
You find somebody like me when I'm gone. Somebody's gonna come in and be like, "Yes, I'll take all. I'll give you $100.
Yeah,
Here's
for
a
this
crisp
$20,000
$100
worth of
bill."
tools
Yeah,
that I'm taking.
exactly.
Yep.
And they're gonna be like, "Yep, crisp $100 bill. That's how it goes sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But
If you're buying tools for a prepper, though, I'll tell you one of the things that I always warn my family members about, should warn your family members about. Don't go to like Lowe's and Home Depot and just walk down that front aisle where they have all the cheap Christmas shit because
yeah,
they're not really cheap. It says it's
No.
on sale, but it's really just as expensive as it normally
yeah,
would be.
that turns
know?
out that's the case. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go do that later today.
But a good good set of drill bits, man, goes a long way.
Yeah, I'm always amazed, like the drill bits we use at work versus like what I buy. If I buy the DeWalt set or whatever, and that DeWalt set, I used to think, oh, they're better than some of the other, and they probably are, but I compare that to what I get at work or whatever, and we use in metal, night and day. It's night and day. I'm like, oh, my quality is not this level,
Right.
And yeah, now quality tools are priceless. But hey, sometimes the basics are what you need. But I think always the go-to like starter thing is like a young kid going out, a socket set is a great way to start. And it doesn't need to be huge. It needs to be, maybe up to 3/4 inch, and then something reasonable, maybe metric and standard. But aside of that, you can get these for like $29, $59 in those neighborhoods. But that's like a great starter. And then the next, as far as power tools, to me, a good cordless drill is your first entry tool, as far as like I'm becoming a man, I have my own drill, because hey, that's where it all starts, right?
That's right. That's right.
And
as far
chainsaws and steel, I'm just saying. Steel.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
They're not that much more money either.
No, and they're significantly better than Jesus. I had a friend come over the other I guess it was earlier this summer, and was showing me his new chainsaw that he had in his car. It was a Black & Decker. Dude,
apologize to yourself.
Shit.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, if you buy yourself a Black & Decker chainsaw, just don't tell people about it, at least.
That's for you in private time. that's private time. But I will say, believe it or not, I think the company that owns Black & Decker bought Milwaukee about 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And I know people put Milwaukee here and Black & Decker doesn't even make the screen, it's way down.
Right. But currently, I'll admit it. Currently, I'm working with a Milwaukee power drill, but you have what you have sometimes.
Steel are made in Virginia Beach. Up. Yeah.
What's that?
Steel are made in Virginia Beach.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
So I didn't know that when I lived there, and then when I moved away, I was like, oh, they're from Virginia Beach. They're local boys. Yeah, that's good. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff. Just think practical. Sometimes it's better to give people less volume, but quality has always been my experience. But again, just enough quality that it's going to function properly. Not like I have a bunch of $6 hammers floating around my property. I don't have any problem with those.
Right.
Although people who are like, well, if you've ever seen a hammer break, that maybe you should have spent more. But for the most part, having volume of stuff, channel locks. I have a lot of cheap channel locks around my property, and mind you, cheap are like $19, DeWalt or whatever channel locks. But some you get like you're grabbing something one time and you're slipping already. It just becomes a headache, and that's my point. Look for a little bit of quality, but it's sometimes better to get people less things but better quality. Than, whatever.
I support that 100%.
Yeah, I'm not saying.
I mean, how many Christmases have you gone through with little kids in the house and you just tons of plastic garbage that they're going to use a couple of times and that's it. Then it just goes in the bin, the toy box bin that has a bunch of Barbies missing clothes and GI Joes with no accessories and all that sort of stuff. Just the trash bin of toys. But it's very easy to get somebody something that they're going to actually use. And that really should be what your focus is. Something that can be helpful in an emergency, something that they might use when they go camping, when they go hiking. Those are the types of tools that really stick with people when they look back where they got it, 3 years from now, and they're still using the same thing.
That's it. I mean, just that's honestly, whenever I buy anything, I'm like, well, what does this sell for at a yard sale? What kind of value does this really have?
Hmm.
And that's something you might want to ask yourself. And I gotta say, getting into debt, never a good idea. And when it comes time for gift giving, give what you can and
Hmm.
don't give anymore.
Right.
You got to think about, going and getting 3 or 4 grand in credit card debt to make it through the holidays. It's not a good play. Nobody
No.
cares. Nobody cares that much. I mean, I understand, your little kids need, something nice under the tree or whatever. And, you do what you do, right? I'm not knocking that. And, I remember when I was younger and dumber, I bought more fancy things under the tree for my kids than maybe, I should have. Like hindsight, I would have probably spent less and been even cheaper. And
Hmm.
I'm a pretty cheap guy. So that's,
Pretty cheap now.
that's
So cheap.
saying something. But just the same, do what's right for you. It's more about caring about people, helping them out, and just being a good person is more important than going and, spending money. So just, keep that in the back of your mind when you're doing stuff. You don't need to. We just wanted to help you out, give you some ideas to kind of inspire. The more we can get everybody prepared, the better everybody's going to be. And that's the way life should be, is looking out for each other.
Hmm.
So that's what I got. With that, I would say stay safe and we will talk to you guys next week.